I'm Kelly Renee, owner and CEO of Madamemedusa's Posh Shop Boutique, okay? And this is my reseller recap. Since this is my very first reseller recap, I'm just going to try to trim the fat as much as possible. I'm going to go backwards a little bit all the way to September of last year. September of 2024 is probably about the time that I started taking reselling seriously and stopped treating it as just a side hustle or a way to make extra money. Backstory wise, I have been reselling on Poshmark for years. It always was like a side hustle or just a way to kind of purge my closet, make a little extra money, pay a bill or two. It was never something that I took seriously as a possible source of real income. Back in 2023, when I left Florida and moved to Alabama, I got a business retail license, a state license for Alabama. Locally, I got I think it's a baker, home baker, or food distribution license, I guess, whatever the title is here. And I started selling baked goods at my local farmer's market. That was a really good hustle, and I made really good money when the market was in season. Then when the winter months came and the market started having a lot less traffic and business started to slow down, I started a full-time job and I started reselling again because reselling was always my go-to way to make extra money. About maybe 6 months into working into my job, my boss, who is a shopaholic like myself, did a closet clean out, and she brought in clothing that she was getting rid of because she just didn't wear it or couldn't wear it anymore. I love clothes, so of course I started taking things for myself, but I saw some really nice pieces that I knew would sell really well on Poshmark. I gave everybody else time to grab what they wanted, and then I took the bulk of everything else because I said I'm going to list all of this and make me at least a couple $100s. I had already been doing Poshmark for years, but I think it was something about getting a taste of working for myself that made me want to start becoming way more active on Poshmark, especially now that I had this free inventory. So besides my boss's clothes, I started intentionally thrifting and shopping at various stores, looking for good deals that I could resell online. Because around that time I had heard about Depop and Mercari and even eBay being a really good place to resell, I decided just to list all of her items, including a few of my own, on all of those platforms. So these are my numbers all the way from last year, September, to this month, February of 2025. These are just rough estimates, and I'm not counting any of my business expenses outside of shipping and seller's fees. Since September and October were the first 2 months where I started listing consistently, I don't even think I had 50 listings on all 4 of those platforms. I probably had closer to 30 or 40. These are my numbers from those 2 months. September and October of last year on eBay, I had a total of 4 sales and I made $190 in sales, and I had a net profit, I guess you can call it. It's after seller's fees, and in the case of eBay, after shipping, guesstimation net profit of probably about $120. September and October of last year on Depop, I had 2 sales and I had a total profit of about $22. So they were like $10 items. Probably took home maybe $15 or $16 because Depop has much lower seller's fees than eBay. September and October of last year on Mercari, I had 4 sales and I made $108. Now, I believe during that particular time, Mercari did not have seller's fees, so I pocketed all $108 from those sales. Now, I do have to say that my Poshmark account was extremely slow last fall and winter. I think that had a lot to do with them changing their seller's fees amount. I think they went through a period of time where they lowered their seller's fees and then they changed their mind and increased them again. Poshmark has the highest seller's fees at about 20%. So I think them lowering it and then changing it back to 20 probably left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, which is why Poshmark was so quiet last year. In September and October of last year, I made 2 sales on Poshmark. They totaled to about $42, and after 20%, I think I took home like $35. November and December of last year, which of course was holiday season, so people were shopping like crazy, and I was listing more. I don't think I quite reached 100 listings by the end of December, but I probably was more in the 80-ish range as far as my listings on all 4 platforms. November and December of last year, I had a total of 16 orders on eBay. I made a total of $656, and my net profit was about $525 ish. That's a rough guesstimation. On Depop, I had 11 sales November and December of last year. I made $252, and after seller's fees, which is about 8%, I probably took home about $220. On Mercari of November and December of last year, I had a total of 6 sales. I made $152, and again, at the time, they did not have seller's fees, so I pocketed all $152. And on Poshmark, which again was extremely slow considering it was the holiday season, but I had a total of 4 sales. I made $146, and I probably pocketed around $115 or $16, something like that, after 20% in seller's fees. January. January was rough. January was rough, raggedy, ratchet, rat shit. January was straight up dog shit as far as my performance goes. My sales were horrible in January, but I think the reasons were obvious. We have a new president. It's a new year. Everybody's trying to save money. People are recovering from the holidays. There's a variety of reasons why January was straight up dog shit. These are my numbers from January. January of this year, I had a total of 15 sales on eBay. I had a profit of $418, and after shipping and seller's fees, I probably took home around $300. Poshmark, again, very slow, but I had a total of 9 sales, made about $165 off of those 9 sales, and after 20%, I probably pocketed about $130. Mercari, I had 4 orders, and this is around the time that Mercari re-implemented their seller's fees, so I noticed a huge kind of lull in Mercari. I did have 4 sales, made $61, and I probably pocketed maybe $55 after their seller's fees. I believe their seller's fees are around 8 to 10%, something like that. Depop, I had 7 orders. I made $115, and after seller's fees, I probably pocketed around $105. Again, these are all rough numbers. I don't have exact estimates for this recap, but if we're going by my rough estimate in January across all platforms, I made about $592. So we'll say maybe $600 if I got a couple extra dollars off of eBay shipping. January was very rough. That's all I can say. Thank God for a savings account. Now, January, I did have between 100 and 230-ish listings. Now, during holiday season, if I would have had 200 plus listings, I probably would have seen better numbers. But since it's more of like a normal month with 200 listings, I felt like that wasn't too bad. Now, February, I'm starting to see a pickup. People are slacking off on their New Year's resolutions goals. They have more money in their pocket. They're less concerned about the economy, I guess. At the end of February right now, I have about 350 listings across all 4 platforms. And I'm starting to see my numbers grow, and I'm starting to see my sales pick up. February is not over with yet. We have about 3 or 4 more days, and I did not calculate my orders from this morning. These are the numbers from last night. So as of February 24th, around 5 o'clock, end of business day, I had a total of 30 orders on eBay. My sales profit was $725, and my net profit after again shipping and seller's fees, rough estimate was about $485. On Depop, I had 8 orders. My sales total was about $117, and my net profit was about $108. Mercari, again, extremely slow this month, but I had 3 sales. My total was about $30 because they were all small items, and my net profit was about $22. Now, in February, my Poshmark finally picked up again. I had 22 orders. I made $417 with a net profit after 20% in seller's fees was about $330-ish. So my net profit for February as of February 24th, which was yesterday, is $968. Comparing it to September, October, November, December, and definitely January, I can definitely see the growth in my resale business. Now, TikTok put me onto the reseller platform called Vented. I thought about whether or not I wanted to juggle a fifth platform, and then I thought I'd just check it out and see what it's like, how it's performing. Because Mercari has really been performing so poorly, it's like 2 or 3 sales a month. I thought I'd give Vented a shot. And I have to say this, I started a Vented account last night around 3 o'clock. I have exactly 10 listings. I sold 2 of them this morning. So that told me all I needed to know about Vented, because I can't even get 2 sales in a month on Mercari, and I had 2 in less than 24 hours on Vented. So I am on Vented, and I will be trying to list as much as possible on Vented to catch up. I think I have about 350 listings on Poshmark, eBay, Depop, and Mercari. So now I have to spam list on Vented, but seeing how quickly I made sales really made me excited for that app. I'm not saying I'm going to delete Mercari, but I am saying that I'm adding a fifth platform. And in the future, we'll see. If one platform just really, really, really is underperforming, I might have to get rid of it. But as of right now, I'm just going to juggle all 5. And that's basically it. That is my reseller recap. I probably won't come back on Friday to do a full February recap. As of last night, it was $968. This morning, I hit $1,000. And since there's 3 days left, I'm going to give a rough estimate, probably about $1,200. And that is it for my very first reseller recap from September of 2024 all the way through February, or almost the end of February of 2025. I hope you enjoyed. And once again, my platforms are Poshmark, eBay, Depop, Mercari, and Vented. And I will see you guys next time.